Imagine turning down the volume of your own mind until there is only static. It is like a wall dimmer switch taped down to keep the room permanently dark. You sit on the edge of your bed, looking at a text from someone you love, and you feel nothing. Why does the mind choose to feel absolutely nothing when we need to feel the most? After this, the next time you face this heavy silence, you will see this blankness as a shield your brain built to protect you. The sudden silence. Why is it that when the worst news of your life arrives, you sometimes feel absolutely nothing? Picture this, standing in your kitchen on a quiet Tuesday evening. The yellow light above the stove is on. You're holding a warm coffee mug, thinking about what to make for dinner. Then the phone rings. You answer it. A voice on the other end tells you about a tragedy. Maybe it's one of those sudden vehicle collisions on the highway. Or one of those medical emergencies that strikes out of nowhere. It could even be a mass casualty event, like a terrorist attack or a natural disaster. Whatever it is, someone you love is gone. You don't scream, you don't fall to the floor, you don't cry. Instead, you slowly set the phone down on the laminate counter. You turn on the faucet. You pick up a blue ceramic plate from the sink and begin to scrub a spot of dried pasta sauce. The warm water runs over your fingers. The sponge moves in slow, steady circles. You feel completely calm. It feels wrong. You think you should be weeping or at least shaking. You might even feel a sudden wave of guilt, wondering if you're secretly cold, or heartless, or broken. But you aren't. This isn't a lack of feeling. It's your mind pulling an emergency brake. When a psychological shock is too massive to process, your brain turns down the volume of the world. It's a sudden shutoff designed to keep you standing when you should be falling. The mind tapes the dimmer switch down to keep the room dark, protecting you from a light that is too bright to bear. It keeps you moving. It lets you get through the first few hours, the phone calls and the arrangements, without breaking apart all at once. But this shield is only meant to buy you time. The brake is supposed to release once the immediate shock passes. What happens when the switch gets jammed? What happens when the mind decides it is safer to stay in the dark and the trigger locks in place? The locked trigger. But this quietness is no peaceful retreat. It is a wall. Suppose you're walking down the aisle of a grocery store on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. The fluorescent lights hum overhead, casting a dull glow on the linoleum. You're just looking for paper towels. You turn a corner, and your eyes brush past a specific brand of laundry detergent, a bright blue bottle with a yellow cap. You don't even look at it directly. But instantly, your chest tightens. The air in the store feels thick. Your hands go cold, and your heart starts to hammer against your ribs. There's no threat here. There is just a mother with a toddler a few feet away and a worker stocking soup cans. Yet your body is screaming at you to run. This is what happens when the brain tries too hard to protect you. In the past, when you went through a dark event, like exposure to violence or the trauma of sexual assault or rape, your brain was taking notes. That specific smell was in the air. Your mind took that harmless detail and glued it to your panic response. Without your permission, Your brain has turned a normal grocery run into a minefield. Every day becomes a test of survival. You never know which ordinary object will set off the alarm. So, to keep from gasping for air in the middle of a public aisle, your mind finds a way to cut the wires. It tapes the dimmer switch down to keep the room dark. If you can't feel the sudden spikes of terror, you don't have to worry about the laundry detergent anymore. It works. You stop panicking. But you pay a heavy price for this safety. Because when you shut down the alarm to keep the ghosts out, you also lock yourself inside. You end up watching your own life from a distance. Behind the glass. You are sitting at a wooden table in a crowded Italian restaurant downtown. It is a Friday night. Your friend Sarah is telling a story. She is leaning forward, waving her hands, laughing at her own punchline. Everyone else at the table laughs too. They clink their beer bottles together. You reach out, grab your glass, and clink yours against theirs. You smile. You even say the right thing at the right time. You know exactly how a happy person is supposed to act in this moment. But you are not actually there. Instead, you feel like you are sitting 10 feet away, behind a thick sheet of dirty glass. You can see their lips moving. You can see the warm yellow light bouncing off the water glasses, but the sound is muffled. The warmth does not touch your skin. You are watching a movie of your life rather than living it. This is dissociation. It is a quiet defense. When the pain in your life got too loud, your mind looked for a way to turn the volume down. Like a wall dimmer switch taped down to keep the room permanently dark, your brain decided that feeling nothing was safer than feeling everything. It pulled you back. It built the glass wall to protect you from the sharp edges of the world. But the mind is a blunt instrument. It cannot block out the bad stuff without blocking out the good stuff too. When it locked out the sadness, it accidentally locked out the joy. So you are left in the middle, safe but entirely alone in a crowded room. You sit there, staring at the condensation dripping down your glass. You wonder how you got here. You wonder when the glass wall first went up, and why your mind decided it needed to protect you so fiercely in the first place. The early mold. You sit behind that glass, wondering when the coldness first crept in. But this numbness is not a sudden sickness. It's a habit you built to survive. Think back to when you were 10 years old. You are lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, waiting. The house is quiet, but it's a fragile quiet. Then you hear the footsteps coming down the hallway. You do not just hear them, you study them. Over months and years, you learn to read the exact weight of each step on the wood. If it's a light, quick step, you can stay under the blanket. But if it's heavy and slow, you slide out of bed. You squeeze into the back of the closet, pressing your face into the scratchy wool of the winter coats. You hold your breath. You flatten your chest to stay invisible. Every single night. In an unstable home, a child cannot fight back, and they cannot run away. The only option left is to disappear. You learn to turn down the volume on your own terror, your own anger, even your own hope. It's like taping down a wall dimmer switch to keep the room permanently dark. It keeps you safe. It lets you get through the night. But you learned to mute your own voice so early that as an adult, you forgot where the switch even is. You walk through your office or sit at the dinner table, wondering why you cannot feel the good things. You forget that you turned off the bad things first. The most quiet, painful piece of this design only surfaces later, when the body decides to speak the words your voice could not. The echo in the blood. Now, picture this. You're sitting on the couch next to your partner. It's late. The only light in the living room comes from the blue glow of the television screen. The room is warm, but there's a strange, heavy distance between the two of you. You're right next to each other, yet you feel miles apart. They reach out. Their fingers slide slowly across the fabric of the cushion, looking for your hand. It's a simple gesture, a quiet bid for connection. But you pull back. It's not a conscious choice. Just a tiny physical twitch. Your hand retreats an inch, out of reach. You don't even realize you did it until you see the look in their eyes, a quiet disappointment. They slowly pull their hand back and tuck it under their arm. In that split second, a memory hits you. You're 9 years old, standing in a kitchen that smells like stale coffee. You reach out to touch your father's arm because you want him to hear about your day. He doesn't yell. He doesn't look at you. He just shifts his weight and pulls away. Maybe he was carrying his own quiet, unspoken history. Traumatized parents often struggle to help their children make sense of the world or to sit with their own fears, so they retreat. You remember how that coldness felt. It stung. It made you feel invisible. And now you look at your partner. You recognize that exact same coldness. You're the one handing it out. The walls you built to survive your childhood did their job. They kept you safe from the people who couldn't love you back then. But those same walls are still standing. Only now, they're keeping out the person who actually wants to be close. You didn't mean to pass this down. Yet here it is, living in your own hands. The dimmer switch is still taped down, keeping the room permanently dark. You saved yourself back then, but you're paying for it now. Which leaves you with a quiet, terrifying question. How do you start to break down a wall you don't even remember building? The return. How do you find your way back when your own blood's gone quiet? Consider what happens when you finally stop running. You're sitting on the edge of your mattress. The bedroom's dead silent, save for the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Outside, the orange glow of a streetlight cuts through the plastic blinds, drawing thin lines across the carpet. Then you feel it. A tiny pinch behind your ribs, a slight tightness in your throat. It's the first cold draft of an oncoming storm. Usually, this is when you react. Your hand moves on instinct. You grab your phone from the nightstand to check your email, or you turn on a television show you've already seen 5 times. You do anything to keep the wall dimmer switch taped down, keeping the room permanently dark. But tonight, you don't reach out. You keep your hands flat on your knees. You just sit there in the dark. And you let it hurt. It feels like a mistake. Your chest aches, your breath gets shallow, and your mind screams at you to find a distraction. anything to make it stop, every single time. But this sharp discomfort's the only path back to yourself. The ice doesn't melt all at once. It doesn't vanish in a sudden burst of light. It starts with a single freezing drop. And if you want to thaw, you have to be willing to get wet. You have to let the cold water run down your skin before the warmth can ever return. It's slow, it's heavy, but it's the only way to know you're still alive. Still, as the tightness in your throat begins to shift, a new fear takes root. If you let all this old pain back in, what else comes with it? And what happens when the floodgates finally open? It's a terrifying question, which is why so many of us turn back. But you don't have to navigate the rush alone. Often, it's with the help of health professionals that revisiting these memories becomes easier, giving you a safe way to face the past without drowning. For now, though, the work is simpler. You just have to stay in the room. So why does your mind choose to feel absolutely nothing when you need to feel the most? It does it to protect you. When the world gets too loud, your brain pulls the plug to keep the system from burning out. Remember turning down the volume of your own mind until there is only static? That static is a shield. It is not permanent damage. You are not broken. You are just waiting. When you feel safe enough to see the light again, you can slowly slide the dimmer switch back up. For now, you can just rest.